I hope you saw the difference with and without CSS. My dear friend, welcome to the first session on cascading style sheets or CSS. CSS is the bread and butter for a front-end developer if in case he wants to create attractive websites. In fact, you are so addicted to using the internet only and only because of one reason, which is the experience, the visual experience that you get when you visit the best websites that you're so used to using on a daily basis. If I have to give you a few examples, let me take you to my browser. I'll just increase the size a little bit. My dear friend, can you guess which is this website? My friend, this is your favorite social media website, Facebook, without CSS. Do you want to see what it looks with CSS? This is what it looks with CSS. As you can see, the huge difference styling can bring to a website. Let me show you another website. This is YouTube without CSS. I know your eyes can't believe it. Let me show you YouTube with CSS. As you can see, there is a huge difference. Let me show you another example. This is LinkedIn website without CSS. Unbelievable, isn't it? The same LinkedIn website, when applied with CSS, looks completely different. Why all that? Let me show you the Tap Academy website without CSS. Unbelievable, isn't it? If I scroll down, as you can see, it's just plain text. But if I apply CSS to it, magically, it becomes a beautiful website. So I hope without a doubt I've been able to clarify to you what is the advantage that CSS brings to the table and how important styling a website is. HTML can only present the data, but CSS can present the data in an extremely stylish manner. So what are you waiting for? Join me in this adventure to master CSS. I hope you had a wonderful introduction to what is meant by CSS and what a difference it makes to the visual appearance of a website. Now it's time for us to get technical. Let us assume this is a simple web page which I have created, and clearly if anyone has eyes, they can see that there is no CSS here because it is such a plain website. If I increase the size a little bit, you can notice I've told full stack web development, after which there is a paragraph, again there is a heading, after which there is another subheading, something about front-end technologies. If I scroll down, there's something about back-end technologies. If I scroll down, there's something about database technologies, so on and so forth. In fact, if I just scroll back completely on top and if I just start inspecting these elements, you can clearly see that this is the body. In the body, full stack web development is nothing but your header, after which you have a paragraph tag, after which you have another header tag, after which you have another header, of course, which is smaller in size. Again, you have a paragraph followed by an image. If I scroll down, you have your backend technologies, which is again a subheading, after which there is a paragraph, there is an image, again there is a header, there is a paragraph, and if I scroll down a little bit more, there is a image. So it's very straightforward, very simple. So if in case I have to just show you the code for the same, you can notice like this. If in case I take you to my code, this is the code for the same. Again, nothing complicated, my dear friend. You know doctype HTML to convey to the browser that we're using HTML version 5. You have your head inside which you have your title, which is home page, and in the body I have my h1 tag, p tag, h2 tag, h3 tag, p tag, images, etc. This is very simple, straightforward code. But my intention here is not to speak about the HTML part because you have understood it in depth. Now I want to style this plain page, right? For styling, we use something called as your cascading style sheets or CSS. Now you must understand, there are three ways in which one can apply CSS to an HTML page. The first way is something called as inline CSS. The second way is something called as internal CSS. And the third and the most popular way is called as external CSS. In fact, I'm going to demonstrate all these three ways to you. And this would be a good starting point for you to understand CSS, right? First of all, whether it is inline or whether it is internal or whether it is external is secondary. You must understand what is the syntax of CSS first and foremost. See, I want you to visualize CSS as a set of rules that you are telling to the HTML that, hey HTML, this is how your style should be. right? So it's like a set of rules. Now, traditionally, the syntax is like this. You have a property followed by a colon followed by value. Now, this property can be many things, such as color, such as font family, such as background. There are n number of properties. I will be explaining all of those properties in depth to you when I take up CSS properties. Now, every property has its own set of values. For example, if it is color, it can be red, green, blue, yellow, orange, pink, purple, indigo, lavender. There are n number of color options that you have with you, right? Now, not only can you have one set of property value, you can have multiple property value pairs like this. But if you have multiple property value pairs, then you must separate them using a semicolon. Between the property and the value, you have a colon. But between the property value pairs, you must separate them using a semicolon, right? Anyways, let me apply a few property value pairs to the simple tag, which is my h1 tag. If I just increase the size of this code a little bit, you can notice it is in this h1 tag that I want to apply few styling properties. Out of the three ways available to me, I'm going to use the first way, which is called as inline CSS. To this line, I'm going to tell what is the CSS rule it should apply. And how will we do that, Rohit? If you ask me, it's very simple, my dear friend. You must give it in the form of an attribute. Now, which is the attribute to apply CSS inline, if you ask me? It is the style attribute. So watch it. I will go after h1, I will tell style. And there, within the quotations, now what I'm going to do is, my first property value pair I'm going to give. So what I want to do is, the text which is black in color, I want to change its color to red. Is that possible? Let's see. I'll just tell color, which is my property, colon, right? As you can see clearly, there is a colon. Automatically it has given. Now I will tell what is the value. The value maybe I want it to be red. So I'll just tell red like this. Up till this point of time, it's clear. This is my first property. Will this get applied? Let us go to our browser and check it out. So if in case I take you back to my browser window, you can notice like this, it has changed. If I scroll on top and if I refresh it, full stack web development has now become red in color. Do you see how applying CSS can immediately change the appearance, right? Now, what if for my h1 header, I wanted the background to be black in color. Is that possible? Definitely. If I have to show you, I will just go back to my code. And in my code, there I will just, now tell me, I have to give one more property value pair. What did I tell you? You have to, if you're giving multiple property value pairs, you must separate it using a semicolon. So a semicolon I will put. I will leave a space and there I will tell background like this. Background hyphen color, right? That is what I want to change. Now, what will you give? Maybe I want it to be black, so I will tell black like this. If in case I do this, will it change, you might ask? Definitely. So watch it. If in case I go back and if I refresh it, you can clearly see that it has become black in color, right? Now, I just want to directly show you that you can change some CSS and it will reflect here. For example, if I just bring my editor here, right? If I just bring my editor here. Now, let me just step into my editor for a second. What I'm going to do is, this red, I'm going to make it as blue. The color red, I will make it as blue. If I make it as blue and I just save this, and if I go back to my browser and if I just refresh it, can you see immediately this has become blue? Are you able to see what I'm trying to tell? Similarly, if in case you want, you can bring it back to red. I will just make it as red like this. And if in case I just refresh it, clearly you can see it has become red back again. Great. I'm just going to replace my editor back. So what I want you to understand is that definitely CSS can change the appearance. Now let us do something a little bit more interesting. For example, I want not only this red and background color to be black, I also want this text to be aligned in the center. I want it to come to the center. Can we do this? Let me just drag back my editor for your reference. Here I'm going to add one more property here. So watch it. I will just scroll it to the right side and maybe I will just press enter there. Or for example, maybe it is not visible to you back here. Why don't we directly go to the editor itself and change the code so that it is better visible to us. So if I take you back to my editor directly, see, then what I want you to understand is, you have told background color is black. Wonderful. Now, next I'll put a semicolon. After putting a semicolon, now what I'm going to do is, I'm going to add one more property value pair. Maybe I will tell like this, font family. That is a property. There are various font families. Few of them I'm just listing it out for you here. You can choose whichever you want. I'm going to use a simple thing. Maybe I will tell you cursive like this. Again, don't worry. When I take CSS properties in depth, I will explore all of this in great detail for you. But as of now, we have done cursive. Also, I want it to be aligned in the center, right? So that also I'm going to do. I'll just go there and I will tell text align, colon, and I will tell center like this. The moment I do this, let's see what changes. If in case I go back to my browser window and if in case I refresh, as you can see, not only has the font changed, my text has also got aligned. That's what I told you. HTML is about placing the data. CSS is about presenting the data in a very, very visually pleasing manner. It is about styling the content the way you want, right? There are a variety of things we can do. Why don't we start styling this page a little bit that way? Now, let us assume I want all my paragraphs, wherever I have paragraphs, I want it to be styled in a certain way, right? I want a certain background color for that element. I want a certain font family for that element. I want a certain color for that element. How are we going to do this? Simple, watch it. Now, you know only one way to apply CSS, which is the inline CSS. But inline CSS has a certain limitation. Watch it. If I go back to my code, there what I'm going to do is, now this is my first P tag. See, full stack development refers to. I want to apply styling to it. So I will go inside that P tag there, and there I will tell style. I'll just tell style like this. After which, first thing is color. Maybe some color I will give. Blue. Wonderful. Colon I will, semicolon I will put. After which, next property value pair. Maybe I want background color. So I will tell background color. And maybe some background color also I will provide. Yellow. Okay. Next, I want to provide a certain font family. That also I will provide. Font family. Right? And font family, something I will give. Maybe sans serif like this. There are different font families. I will explain all of them in detail to you. Also, maybe I want, I think that is pretty much sufficient. You have your color, you have your background color, and you have your font family. Now, how will this change? Let us see. If I go back to my browser window, and if in case I refresh it, you can notice clearly it has changed. If I increase the size a little bit, you can notice full stack web development. The font, clearly that font, this font is different. That background color, this background color is different. This color of the text and that color is also different. Any confusion till this point in time? Okay, maybe we will change the color of the text as well. So here let me just let me just directly go back to my thing. Here I will also add, okay, so maybe I will just change the color from blue to something else just to show you that definitely it can change, right? So any other color I will put. Orange if I tell, and if in case I go back and if in case I just refresh it, you can notice it does definitely changes. But again, you can notice that you're not able to read this properly. That is why for a front-end developer, it is very, very important that he thinks creatively. He thinks aesthetically. He thinks in terms of color combinations, what works, what doesn't work. Of course, there are different ways for you to take predefined color combinations available on the internet. You don't have to use your brain too much, but definitely CSS gives you an outlet for your creativity, and your creativity is the limit, right? Any which way, I'll just go back and change it to the original color. So that was better combination. I will make it as blue itself. Wonderful. Now I want you to understand. You have multiple P tags. See, if I scroll down, you have another P tag. If I scroll down, you have another P tag, another P tag. Now, all of them I want it to be styled in a similar way. Now, this is where the limitation of inline CSS comes into the picture. Because if I scroll on top, here, whatever I have provided as my CSS rule will only and only apply to this line, which is this p tag. Only to this p tag it will apply. It will not apply for the p tags below. It will not apply. So what to do, you might ask? Well, that is where, my dear friend, we have to use the next way of applying CSS, which is called as your internal CSS. How to apply internal CSS? Let me show you. But if you do not use internal CSS, see how complicated life will be. What you'll have to do is, you'll have to go copy this style, right? This complete style I'll have to copy. And that inside every p tag you have to keep repeating. I will paste it there also, inside the next p tag also I will paste, inside the next p tag also I will paste, like this, right? Inside the last one also I will just paste it. Unnecessarily the same code you're repeating. Will this achieve your expected requirement? Definitely. If I go back to my browser window and if in case I just refresh it, you can notice that yes, all p tags have got styled that way. But scroll down, all the p tags have got styled that way. Of course, one more p tag was remaining. I will go put for that as well. But anyways, you get the point. It will apply for all the p tags, but you are repeating code. Is there a better way to do it? Yes. What is the better way? Internal CSS. How to apply it? Let me show you. As one can clearly see, using inline styling is something which gets complicated because as you have tags of the same kind, the same nature, you have to keep repeating your code and it makes no sense. A programmer or developer always prides in the fact that he follows the dry principle or the do not repeat yourself principle. But here, unfortunately, as you guys can see, we're repeating the same piece of code again and again and again. Is there a better way to do things? 100%. If in case you make use of internal styling, then this thing can be completely taken care of. Now, how do we use internal CSS? Very simple. For that, you have to take all your CSS property value pairs and place it inside a certain tag by the name of the style tag. Appropriately named it is. Now, where do you think this style tag resides, my friend? My friend, the style tag always and always lives or resides within the head part of your HTML. It's inside the head that you have to put. So inside head, it is not only title, not only meta information, but also this internal CSS is also placed inside head. So watch it. What I'm going to do is I will go inside head after title, I'll press enter, and there I will just open and close my style tag like this. Is my style tag. Right, inside that. What I'm going to do is, here I should be placing my CSS. Now let us look at it one by one. First, including H1, everything I want to put it here. What will you do if you ask me? This color till this text align center, I will just cut it. I'll remove that style equal to, because I don't want to use inline CSS anymore. Next, I'll go inside that style and there I will paste it. Now, to make it more readable, let me just press enter and make it one below the other like this. Any confusion? Now, I want you to think, my dear friend. Now, these properties, right? Color red, background color, your font family and your text align center. Now, on which HTML element should this be applied on? Can you tell me? On which element should it be applied on? Yes, you're telling me it should be applied on H1. But I'm asking you that you know because you cut and pasted it here. But your browser, your HTML does not understand that. Is why using internal CSS is very different from using inline CSS because inline quite straightforward. See, inside P you told this is P style. P will follow it. But here you did not tell who this styling belongs to. Is why syntactically what you must do is club all of them together by putting it within parentheses like this. I'll put it within brackets. Watch it. Like this, I'll just put it within brackets. Here also I'll put the closing bracket. Great. Next, what I'm going to do is I will now tell which is the HTML tag on which this styling should be applied to, and I will go outside the opening bracket and tell H1 like this. Any confusion till this point of time? Now it knows, oh okay, this styling belongs to H1 tag. Interesting, isn't it? Similarly, I want to now give the styling information for all the P tags. So what are we going to do? I will go inside after H1, I will press enter and there I will tell parenthesis like this, or before that I'll just go copy this style information. So whatever is there, I will just cut that, remove that style and that brackets and all that. Yeah, and I'll just go there and I will press enter, paste. I'll also just make it one below the other. Any confusion till here? Now club it by putting it within brackets. Curly braces, make sure you remember that. Next I will tell who this belongs to. So I will just tell P like this, that's all. Now I'll just indent it correctly. Now let us see whether this works or whether any change happens. But before I show you the output, I want you to understand, the moment you told that every P tag must be styled using these properties and values, my friend, now you don't have to redundantly keep writing the same code. If I scroll down, now what is the need for you to give the same styling information inside this P tag? Let me remove that. What is the need to tell inside this P tag? I'll remove that. What is the need to tell inside this P tag? I'll remove that also. I hope you're able to think. Now, there are other tags as well, such as there is the H3 tag, there is the, all these H3 tags are also there. So, let me show you, or let us also style the H3 tag as well. How are we going to do this? Simple. If I just scroll on top, then as you can see, this is the styling information that I'll give for both the H2 and the H3 tags like this. Even for H2 tag, I will provide. So here H3 I've told color is black, font family is Helvetica, background color is violet. Similarly for H2, between maybe on top of H3 you can put like this I'll put. Any confusion till this point of time? I just indented correctly. Now what I want you to understand is that this is what we call as your internal CSS. Internal CSS is always placed inside the style tag. Style tag always lives inside the head, right? Now, how you must perceive this or understand this is all of my H1 tags in my HTML file is going to be styled like this. All the P tags are going to be styled like this. All the H2 tags are going to be styled like this. All the H3 tags are going to be styled like this. Really, you might ask, watch it. If I take you to my browser window and if in case I just refresh it, you can clearly notice this is how the output looks like, right? So it works beautifully, it works. So not only have you understood CSS, you understood how to apply CSS using the inline methodology and using the internal CSS methodology as well. But there is one last type of CSS called as external CSS. Now, when should one be using external CSS, you might ask. For example, let us assume I have another web page like this. This is that web page. If I'll increase the size a little bit. So I have artificial intelligence, a paragraph below that. I have categories of AI. I have strong AI. If I increase the size a little bit more, as you can see, there is a paragraph for that also. There is an image. Then there is something called as weak AI. And there is a paragraph for that as well. And there is an image below that as well. I hope it is clear. Now, this is also nothing but a collection of your H1, H2, H3 and P tags, right? Now, I want to style it in the same way that I styled the other web page, that is the previous one. Watch this. In the same way I want to style it. Any confusion till this point of time? Now, just because of the way you have written CSS, there is no way for you to reuse the code. You have to retype the code. For example, if I take you to my editor, this is the code for whatever I was speaking about. This is the code for that page. As you can see, this is the head. Inside the head, I've not given any title. Maybe I'll give a title as well. I'll just call it as AI like this. I'll just call it as AI. AI. Any confusion till yet? As you guys can see, this is the code for that page that we just saw. Very straightforward page, your doc type HTML, your HTML tag, inside the head you have your title, the body, inside the body of your H1 tag, P tag, H3 tag, H2 tags, all of this you have. But there is no styling related information here. But I want to style it. Now, I want to style it in the same way I styled my previous page. Now, I have two options. Option number one is to do inline CSS. But you know that would not be a wise approach. The second one is to use internal CSS. But irrespective of whether it is inline or internal, I have to rewrite code. There is no way for me to reuse code. For example, if I just go back to my previous code, this code, I can't reuse it there. This code has to be present there as well. I can't reuse it. So watch it. I have to just cut this entire style tag, copy it. I'll go back there, and inside the head, that is where the style resides. So I will just paste it there, right? Now, will it get styled? Certainly. Watch it. If in case I go back to my browser window and if I refresh it, certainly styling has happened. It has happened in the same way as what we have previously done as well. So watch it. If I scroll down, certainly styling has happened. But now what I want you to understand is, don't you think the same piece of code, you have written it twice? Is there a way in which the CSS code written once can be reused by multiple web pages? What if I had 100 such web pages, all of them required the same styling? Does it mean that I have to go and repeatedly keep pasting the code inside every individual web page? There has to be a better approach, isn't it? And that better approach is nothing but your external CSS. How to use this? Let me show you. My dear friend, the last video I had put a thought at the back of your mind about whether really internal CSS is the most efficient way to do styling when the same styling has to be applied on multiple different web pages. Just to give you a quick recap, this was the code which I had, right? Wherein I'd created a page called as home page, and here within the head, I had a style tag inside which I had given information about how H1 tags should be styled, how P, H2 and H3 tags have to be styled. And if I scroll down, as you can clearly see, this was about full stack web development. I had another web page as well, this is the code for that web page, wherein I had spoken about AI. Again, the styling remained the same, but I had to repeat my code. Yes, I had to repeat the code. The code is the same. If I scroll down, content inside the tags may change, but the styling remains the same. Just to give you a recap of how the output looked like, if I take you back to my browser window, please observe this is how that home page looked like, right? Full stack web development. This is how that AI page looked like. Now, I want you to think, 2 pages were there. 2 times I repeated my styling. What if I had another third page like this about testing? If I increase the size a little bit, you can notice software testing, types of testing. I've told there is something called as manual testing, automation testing. Great, all this is cool. But ultimately, I want to style it in the same way I styled the previous 2 guys. In fact, if you want to see the code for this, let me show you. If I take you back to my editor, this is the code for that page. As you can clearly see, there is nothing different. It is the same H1P, H2, H3 tags, the image tags, it's all the same. But styling information is missing. Now I need to put the styling information, isn't it? Now all I have to do is, again I'll have to go into the head part. There I have to press enter, put the style tag, and inside the style tag, the same information again I will have to put like this. Any confusion till this point of time? 3 times I am writing the same piece of code. Now what if I had 30 such web pages? Then 30 times will I keep repeating this? But will it work? 100% it will work. If I take you back to my browser window, and if in case I just refresh this page, as you can clearly see, automatically styling gets applied. No doubt about it. This styling is also the same. The other page also, the styling is the same. The other page also, the styling is the same. But I have reused code. So what could be a better option? A better option would look something like this. Please watch it. If I take you back to my editor, what I would do is think about it, right? I am going to take this styling information and I am going to place it inside a file like this called as style.css. I will put it inside this file. Now, why is this called as .css if you ask me? My friend, that's because it's a file which contains CSS. That's why it's called as .css, right? Now, please understand, this file, what I want to do is, I have 3 other HTML files. Index.html, index1.html, index2.html. This contains web development content, this contains that AI content, and that one there contains the testing content. Now, all these 3 files must share the contents present inside the CSS file. For that, what should you do if you ask me? You must link those HTML files with the CSS files. Now, how are we going to do this linking if you ask me? Well, that is by using external CSS. That is the nature of external CSS, to take CSS present in a CSS file and link it to an HTML file. That is only external CSS. How to do this? Let me show you. I'll just remove this. Now, assume this is my file called as index.css. Inside this, watch it, the same content, whatever these tags are there, that same tags I'm just going to paste it there, as you can see. Any confusion? Now, understand, this is index.css, this is index.html. These are two separate files. Now, where are these files if you ask me? Both of these files are in the same folder in my computer. It can be in different folders also. How to link it if they are in different folders, I'll speak about it. But ultimately what I want to do is, I want to take this index.css and I want to take this html.css and I want to link them together. Now, how are we going to link them together if you ask me? For that, my friend, you have to use this tag called as the link tag. That is where the link tag plays a huge role. Now, how are we going to do this? Understand the syntax correctly, right? So first I will go and I'll remove all this style tag. I don't need it. Internal CSS is not required. Great. Now what am I going to do if you ask me? Link tag also resides inside the head tag itself, right? So there I will just tell link like this. And if I press enter, automatically you can see few things it has filled for me. What is that if you ask me? First of all, there is an attribute called as rel. Rel is short form for relation. It is asking, hey, what is the relationship that you're trying to establish by linking this file and this file? Well, the relationship is that this is a style sheet. Yes, index.css is a style sheet. It is a sheet or a file inside which there is styling information. That is a relationship. It's a style sheet. Next, what is the type of the content inside the file? It is text/CSS. Any confusion? Then comes the... Now you might be wondering, what does href do for us and what should you tell inside href? Well, inside href, you must tell the name of the file that you're trying to link. And what is the name of this file, my dear friends? It is index.css. And because it is in the same folder, I will just tell index.css. Of course, if it was in a different folder, we should have done few more things about which I will speak later on. But if you do this much, what you have successfully achieved is external CSS. Why is it called external CSS? Do you see any CSS inside the HTML file? No. Where is the CSS? It is outside or it is external. And external CSS has been linked to your HTML file using the link tag. And this has numerous advantages about which I will speak. But first, let us see whether this will work. If in case I take you to my browser, watch it. If I refresh it, clearly there is no change. It is getting styled. In fact, to show you that actually it is getting styled, I'll go back to my editor and what I'm going to do is, watch it all of you. I will just remove this link tag. I'll remove this link tag. I'll remove it. I'll save it, and if I go back to my browser and if in case I now re-execute it, clearly styling is missing. It comes back to the original form. Right? Now, if I go and replace the link tag, you can clearly notice that definitely linking would have happened. Watch it like this. I'll save it. And if in case I go back and if I go to my browser and I refresh, there you go. Styling has 100% happened. Any confusion till this point of time? So, I think it is clear to you how to use external CSS. Now, the question is, can this be applied on the other pages as well? Definitely. That's the beauty of external CSS, isn't it? So watch it. If I take you to my editor, now I will open the AI page. There also, this internal CSS I will remove. The beauty is, same file can be linked here also. How to do that? Same link tag, I will just paste it. So I'll go copy that link tag and I will just paste it. Any confusion? This should also work. Similarly, I will go back to the home page. There also I will remove all this. Same file, I will link it. I will paste. Now tell me, this is the first file. Go to the second file. This is the second file. Go to the third file. This is the third file. Tell me, have I reused code or have I repeated code? 100% I've reused. So I think you can clearly see the advantage of having external CSS in a style sheet, in a .css file. Any confusion till this point of time? So if I go back to my browser window, definitely you can notice even for this one, it works, full stack web development, and even for artificial intelligence, it perfectly works. So what I'm trying to say is external CSS is very, very powerful, right? Now, what are few of the advantages of external CSS? If you ask me, first advantage is that a single style sheet can be reused by multiple HTML files. A single style sheet can be reused. The second advantage is, watch it, if I go back to my editor, what I wanted to understand is that, is there a clear separation between what you are trying to present, your presentation, and your styling? HTML is used to present the data. CSS is used to style or format the data. In the HTML file, I don't have styling code. In the styling file, I don't have HTML code. Clearly, there is a separation between the presentation and the styling. Any confusion till here? The next advantage, which is very, very obvious to the eye, is let us assume, if I take you to my browser, here I don't want, if I go to the browser, here you can notice this background, artificial intelligence, that background, in all three pages, go to the other pages as well, all three pages, I want to change the background to gray in color. Now, if you used inline CSS, it would have been a nightmare. If you have used internal CSS also, you should have gone into every individual file and made the changes, right? If I go to the other file as well, as you can clearly see, everywhere I should have gone and changed. Everywhere I should have changed. But here, since you use external CSS, you don't have to go inside the HTML files and do the change. Change has to be done only in one place, which is inside the CSS file. So watch it, if I take you to my CSS file, just here, I'm going to tell, hey, for this H1 header, this background color, please, it should not be black, it should be gray like this. Change was made in only one place, but it reflect everywhere. Watch it. If in case I go back and if in case I just take you to my browser window and I refresh it, it has become gray here, go to the other page, refresh, gray here, go to the other page, refresh, gray here as well. Beautiful, isn't it, my dear friend? So I think the advantages of external CSS is crystal clear to all of you. Now, there is one more way in which an external CSS can be linked to your HTML file. How is that? Let me show you. The second way for you to link an external style sheet into your HTML file is by using @import. Now, how does @import work? Let me show you. All I'm going to do now is I will go remove this link. Even @import should be inside the head, but not directly inside the head. It should be within the style tag. So watch it. I will put the style tag. Inside the style tag, I'm just going to tell, and inside that, I will tell @import. Now, what to import you should tell. How to tell that, if you ask me, leave a space and then tell URL, right? Inside that URL, here I will put parenthesis. There I will tell what should be the name of the file which must be imported, right? And because it is in the same folder as this HTML file, directly its name I will tell. But you need not put it inside any quotes or anything. Directly I will just tell index.css like this. Now, this syntactical expectation you must remember, friends, because I did not create this. I am just following it, right? Will this work? Same thing, let us reflect. I'll copy this entire style tag and I will be putting it within my other places as well. So I will just go there and I will place it here also. I will paste it in that other place as well. I will paste it. Any confusion till this point of time? Wonderful. Next what, you might ask. Next what means, now just to see whether this works or not, some change must be reflected, isn't it? So what I will do is, I'll go inside my CSS file and there, let us make the background color back to black so that we will know whether it is really reflecting or not. So watch it. Now what I'm going to do is, I'll be going back into my browser window and if I refresh this, you can clearly see it has become black. If in case I go to the other file, refresh it black. If I go to the other file, refresh it, it's also black. So it works. So two ways you understood. One is using the link tag, other is using @import. @import is used in other different scenarios as well. Going ahead, we will explore all of them. But the three ways for you to apply styling to your HTML page, which is inline, internal, and external CSS, is crystal clear to all of you. Stay tuned for more. My friend, over the last couple of classes, we have been repeatedly using this word called as CSS. And what is the meaning of CSS? The full form is cascading style sheets, right? But now I want a question which you should be asking yourself. What really is the meaning of this word cascading, and why is it called as a cascading style sheet? Is it just a random name given to it, or is there any meaning behind it? And more is what we are going to explore together. Now it's very simple. Try to understand what I'm saying. If I take you to my browser window, you must understand this is a simple web page which we have previously also created. But as you can see, there is no styling here. It's just plain black and white text and few images. If I scroll down, as you can see, there is no styling whatsoever in this web page. But I now want to apply styling. But here I want you to focus on trying to understand why CSS is called as cascading style sheets, and there's a word cascading which you must focus on. So watch it. If I take you to my editor, my dear friend, this is the code for that web page that you saw, and it's pretty straightforward. You have your body, and inside your body you have your h1 tag, p tags, h2 tags, p tags. Inside that you have your image tags, etc. And this code by now is crystal clear to each and every one of you. Now, what I am going to do is I want to style this h1 tag. Specifically speaking, this h1 tag is what I want to style. Now you know that there are three ways to apply CSS on an HTML element. And what are those three ways? The first way is what you refer to as inline CSS. The second way is what you refer to as internal CSS. And the third and final way is what you call as external CSS, and how each of them are different from each other and when to use what we have explored in the previous class. But right now, I am going to apply all three ways of CSS on the same element, which is h1. Yes, you heard me right. Inline also I will apply. Internal also I will apply. External also I will apply. In this case, what happens is something we should be checking out. So watch it. Let us begin by applying inline, right? So how do you apply inline? You should go inside the line where that element is there, and you should give the CSS. So I will just go there and I will tell style equal to. That is how you give inline CSS. And same property value pairs. So my first property that I would like to give is background color. And background color, maybe I will call it as red, right? Also, you know that always a semicolon you have to put so that you can give the next property value pair. So I put a semicolon. Next, the next property that I want to apply is background color is done. Now I want to change the color of the text as such. So how am I going to do that? Simple. I will tell color. And then maybe I will tell color is red or yellow, like this. I will tell color is yellow. Red-yellow combination I want to use. Next thing is I want to also change the type of the font, So how am I going to do that? Font family is the next property I will apply. Font family. And then maybe I will tell cursive. This is my inline CSS which I've applied. Now I also want to apply internal CSS. Now how does one apply internal CSS? You know. It is by putting your CSS property value pairs inside a tag called as your style tag. And where does the style tag reside? It resides inside the head. So I will go inside the head and there I'll press enter and there I'll put my style tag. And then automatically you must tell the type is equal to text/CSS like this. Always slash is the other slash. Any confusion till this point of time? Next, what we will be doing is I will go inside style and there I'm going to again tell, hey, out of all these different elements or this HTML tags which I have, I am going to give styling information for a tag called as my h1 tag. So I'll tell h1. And there I will put brackets, open bracket, close bracket. Inside that, I will now give my property value pair. So first property is background color. So maybe I will tell background color is black like this, right? Next, I will tell the color is maybe white, black and white combination I want. Next, I will tell font family. Maybe font family, I will tell it as sans serif. And what is meant by a font family, etc. in depth when I take up fonts in CSS, I will explain. Right? This much is done. Cool. So I've applied, not only have I applied inline CSS, I've also applied internal CSS, which means in the same HTML document, there is a rule to style H1, which is in the form of inline. There is another rule to style H1, which is in the form of internal. Let us not leave external out of the picture. Let us also add an external style sheet to this as well. So this is my external CSS file, and there I will go and I will tell for this tag called as H1. I will put open bracket, close bracket, and inside that I'm going to put the content. So I will just tell same thing, background color. Maybe I will tell pink, and after which the color, maybe I will tell purple. And after which next is my font family, and my font family maybe I will tell monospace like this. Any confusion to this point of time? So now this is in an external file. Now don't you think these two files have to be linked to each other? And how do you link an external CSS file into an HTML file? For that there is a link tag, and the link tag also always resides or lives inside the head part. So I will go after style or before style itself. Yeah, I will just press enter, and there I will tell link like this. I automatically link, not li. And there it is automatically telling that the relationship is style sheet, the type is text/CSS. Now it is asking where is it. Now where it is it is in the same folder, so I need not give a complete path. I can just tell directly the name, and this is the name, index.css. Any confusion till this point of time? So what I want you to understand is I am trying to style this H1 element, and I have given 3 different rule sets in the form of inline, internal, external. Now let us execute and check what happens, right? So now which style would be applied? That is what you must observe. So if I take you back to my browser window, as of now you can see there is no styling. But if in case I refresh, you can see it is the red and yellow combination which has got applied. And red and yellow combination, was it inline, internal or external? Clearly it was inline. So inline was automatically given higher priority, higher precedence, higher preference compared to the other two guys, right? However, now if I go back, what if I remove the inline styling, right? So this inline styling I'm going to remove. Any confusion? But still styling rules are there. What are the 2 styling rules? One is internal, other is external. Now, amongst internal and external, which one will be selected is the question. So watch it. If I take you back to my browser window, now please understand, I will not refresh it. Watch it. There were 3 stylings, right? Now, how CSS works is, first CSS is going to check if inline styling is available. Inline styling is not available. Then what happens is, it goes downwards. Going downwards is only called as cascading, right? If you go and Google the dictionary meaning of cascading, cascading literally means pouring downwards. It checked for inline. Inline is absent, and hence it will pour downwards. And what it is going to check for is whether there is internal CSS. And is there internal CSS? Yes. And if I refresh, that is what gets applied. Black and white combination is what you can see. Any confusion till this point of time? So even this you have been able to understand. Now clearly, I think you can already guess. If I go back to my editor and I remove the internal CSS, the style tag, I shall replace it, right? Now still styling is there, but styling is not inside this file. It's in an external CSS file which I have linked, right? So obviously that is what is going to be applied. If in case I go back to my browser window, all 3 options were there. First it will check inline, not there, pour downwards. Check if internal is there, not there, pour downwards. And what it is going to now identify is external CSS, and if in case I refresh, that is what gets applied. Any confusion? So did you understand the meaning of cascading? That's why it's called as a cascading style sheet. I hope this is crystal clear to each and every one of you. But if by this example you have arrived at a conclusion that if inline is not present, priority is always given to internal. And if internal is not present, only then priority is given to external. There is a little bit of gap in your understanding, because that is not how it exactly works. What do I mean is, if I go back, I will undo and put back my internal CSS. This is my internal CSS, right? Now look at the positioning and tell me, the link tag, which is linking the external CSS file to our HTML file, is it before or is it after the style tag? Clearly it is before. If you place the external CSS code above or before the internal CSS code, preference is always given to internal CSS. Yes, that is how CSS is designed. But if the same external CSS code, you cut it, and if in case you paste it after the internal CSS, watch it, after style I'm going to paste it. If I do this, now preference is always given to external over internal. Do you want proof? So see here, black and white is a combination for internal, and here it is pink and purple, which is a combination. Previously, when internal and external both were there, preference was given to internal, but now it is going to be external, or it is going to be pink and purple. Watch it. If I go back and if in case I refresh it, nothing changed. It remains the same, which means what it selected was external CSS. Any confusion till this point of time? But in general, what is meant by cascading? I hope it is crystal clear to all of you.